So we're joined now to discuss the Lima Marin case by two folks with an eye to the legal issues and also the moral issues that are associated with this case. Elizabeth Epps, who's with the Denver Justice Project, and Mario Nicholas, an attorney. Leans right, leans left. You found common ground in this case. Did learning yesterday that Renee Lima Marin was flagged for deportation change your view of the case, in a word?
I would say absolutely not.
No?
No.
Okay. At this point, is it an issue of what ICE has the right to do, or is it a moral right and wrong?
It can be a bit of both. Either way, they've done the wrong thing. I think that, you know, we're taught in civics class growing up of these three branches of government: legislative, judicial, and executive. And here in Colorado, we've got all three of these branches ostensibly in agreement and across party lines, and at least the legislative branch, that that Renee is time for him to come home. So ICE, having the legal ability to do this hold may stand, but it shouldn't stand long. The morality definitely trumps any sort of technicality that would keep him in custody any longer.
I think that one of the things you have to look at is the fact that the law and justice are not always the same thing. And that's the situation we find ourselves in right now, is there is the law and what ICE can and cannot do. And I think people are still trying to figure that out just because it happened so quickly yesterday, versus justice. And I think that a lot of people believe that what justice demands here is that Mr. Lima Marin go free. Certainly that's what the judge who issued his opinion just a few days ago did. He issued a 163-page opinion. That is a massive opinion. And throughout it, he harps on justice and that it would be an injustice for Mr. Lima Marin to continue to stay in prison.
What would you say to folks who say, listen, if you're not a citizen of this country and you commit a felony, you set yourself up for this very process?
I think one of the critical things you have to look at, particularly in his case, is that he was a political refugee in the Mariel boat lift. The fact that he came over from Cuba, I think actually he is likely to be characterized differently than other people because of that, because of the exile that went along with that, and also because he comes from Cuba, a country that we typically do not deport back to because of their government. It's a repressive regime down there, and it's not a place that we typically send people back to, especially someone like him, someone who has been a positive, contributing member of our society who only makes Colorado better.
Elizabeth, do you think that Renee and his advocates hurt their case by not having this deportation issue out in front of the public and lawmakers and the governor, who all rallied to his cause, and now we find this out?
This was not something that was hidden. It wasn't a hiding the shell, something that everyone was aware of as being a pending issue. You're aware, Kyle, of the timeline. So the appropriate time for this to have been raised, this deportation flag, would have been 2000, the point that he's convicted of the aggravated felonies, or 2008 when he's out on parole, or the 5 years that he served his parole, or after the 6th year of his being free. So if anyone was hiding the ball here, it certainly wasn't Renee or his advocates. I want to respond to you asked about what would we say to someone who says if you're not a citizen and you commit this sort of crime, you're setting yourself up for deportation. I think the proper way to look at it is if you are convicted of a crime, you've set yourself up to be dealt with in our system of laws, and he was. And he served time, he served parole, as Marco said, has been a model citizen. And in that sense, the citizenship of his actual birth doesn't matter. It's that he's been a citizen in this community. He's been a positive force. And so in that way, no, I don't think at all that it's fair to accuse his advocates of hiding some piece of information. They obviously want the best for him, have his best interest at heart, and had it been an issue to put before the court, it would have happened.
And lastly, I want to ask you both, how do you see this realistically being resolved? Is it through ICE and the Trump administration? Is it Governor Hickenlooper getting involved? What's the resolution?
I think at this point there could be several different resolutions. Some of them good, some of them bad. I would like to see something that obviously set him free, that made him the same productive member of society that he had been for 6 years. I think that could take I've heard that could take the form of a pardon from Governor Hickenlooper. It can't be a commutation. It actually has to be a pardon, so it eliminates the felony.
Would the right give him cover for that? Would Republicans criticize him for that, or would they be willing to stand with him, you think?
You know, I would hope that that Republicans would stand behind that. I think classical conservatives look at the individual and what the individual brings to a society. And in his case, he has been nothing but a benefit since he got released. In fact, prior to his release, the fact that while he was in prison, he made himself a better man. That's what the right stands for, is an individual bootstrapping themselves up. I think we do have some Republican legislators who have stood up for him before, and I'm hoping that they will continue to do so now.
Elizabeth, how do you see this being resolved?
Well, the right certainly doesn't have a monopoly on bootstrapping and people making the best of situations. This is going to be resolved positively, and I hope sooner rather than later. I think the ideal resolution would be a pardon. I think that our governor has an opportunity to make a bold statement. He certainly has expressed this week that he wants Mr. Lima Marin to be reunited with his family. That's one way to do it. And I think it's important to note that Renee has fantastic legal advocates. I'm sure we'll be hearing from them in the next day or so. They're going to have a strategy, and none of the outcomes are going to be ones that end with him remaining incarcerated. It could be something through ICE. My preference as a community member would be to see the governor make swift work of this and issue the pardon. He's been vetted. He deserves it.
All right, Elizabeth Epps. All right, Nicholas, thank you both for coming in to talk about this very important case.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.